Alright, since the last time I was in the shop, I've done a few things, changed a few things. Put the oscillating fans in and also the attic fan or the vent fan. Another thing that I did is I have not had very good luck with these LED 4-foot fixtures. Some of them have held in there for a couple years. I've had like 3 or 4 of them go bad within 6 months, and I had 2 more go bad. You could see that one and that one. And so what I'm looking at doing is these screw-in lamp LEDs. They put out a lot of light. It's a little bit harsh on the eyes because it's so bright and it's such a bright white light. So I put one of those in because I got a 2-for-1 deal. And so I put the one in over the laundry area of my garage, and I had another one left over, so I put that in. So we'll see how these last. And I believe what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and add a second one up there to replace that one, and then depending on the performance and how long they last, I'm going to maybe switch over to these LEDs because they're quick and easy to replace, and I don't have to pull the fixture down and put a new one in. So we'll try that out. Also, the Earthquake series of tools from Harbor Freight, I love them. I mean, they're a great performer at a really good price. I've used several of them for 8 years now, and I can't get batteries for them anymore. So the Earthquake series are on their way out just because they no longer support them. And I had to make a decision. Okay, am I going to move over to the Hercules brand? I didn't want to do that because I've already committed to Ryobi because they had a really good selection of tools. And Ryobi is really decent, and with their new extreme torque impact gun, it's as good or better than the Earthquake series in about the same price. So I wanted to keep the Ryobi brand because I already have the batteries, and so I bought a new battery operated wrench, and I got a battery operated 4.5-inch grinder. So let's see how those work out. All right, so let's move on. All right, what we're going to be working on today is a common problem with the full-size Jeeps. What happens is the cowlings, here, let's go look. The cowlings on these things have these big open holes right here. And so what happens is debris, leaves, etc. fall into there, and then they basically end up getting pushed down to the vent area, which goes inside the vehicle. And you have these little vents on the side here that you can open up to get air circulation in and through the vehicle. However, this fills up with leaves and debris, turns into dirt and mud, and then basically rots this section out. And we don't want that to happen. So, and on this vehicle, it was so bad on this vehicle that it rotted out the firewall, and I had to redo that. I had to patch all that back in and then coat it so that it wouldn't rot out again, and it wouldn't leak. So let's look at how we can fix that to prevent those leaves and debris from filling that section up. And what we'll do is we'll get some of this wire mesh, and it's fencing, like chicken fencing and stuff. So you can go to any hardware store, Lowe's or Home Depot, and you can pick this stuff up, and you can get the stuff that's PVC coated. And I would have gotten that, but I wanted something with a smaller hole size that was small enough that it wouldn't let leaves and dirt get into. However, that didn't block enough airflow to where it suffocated the vent fans and stuff like that. So this is what I got, and it's galvanized, but I'm going to make sure that it's painted well. And basically what you do is you cut a pattern out of this to basically fill this in. And what you'll do is you'll glue it in place, and you can use latex caulk and stuff like that. However, I don't like a caulk or sealant for something like this. I would rather have a glue or adhesive, and that's what this is. And so basically it's automotive seam sealer, and I'm going to use that, and I'll show you how we put that together. We'll cut this a pattern out, lay it in here, and then caulk it in or seal it. Not even. So what we'll do is we'll cut a pattern out of this and basically glue it in place, and then we'll make sure it's painted up and looks nice. I'm gonna do both my vehicles. I've done the ugly truck in the past, and I haven't gotten around to doing the shop truck and the Cherokee yet. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. All right. So one of the things that I want to do, I've just cleaned this up. I use a Scotch-Brite on it, some soapy water. I did notice that there's some dents and bows in this, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on a flat surface and get this straightened out the best I can. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, and then we'll get busy to cutting the pattern out to get this mesh inserted into here. basically did a quick tap out and straightened this cowling grill up a little bit. It has some dents and dings in it, and so I've got that pretty much where it needed to be. These mounting holes here, they were starting to pull through, so I tapped them out. So I've got this to where I want it, and I made a cardboard template, and I'm going to pre-fit that into here. And I cut it a little bit larger because I want the option to be able to fold the edges in and double up on the edges so that they're not thin, and so that it'll also make a thicker screen to where the seam sealer will be able to grab it. So let me go ahead and transfer this to the screen, and then we'll keep working. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm taking my cardboard template and I am getting it cut out, cut to size, and then basically I'm going to lay this over the cowl to make sure that it fits. And this will be what we use as a template to cut the screen. Right there, I'm cutting out the little loops that the windshield wiper shafts go through. Now I'm placing it over the cowl, making adjustments, changes. It's not symmetrical, it only goes on one way. And using a straight edge, I'm cleaning it up. Alright, now trying to figure out this screen on how to open it. And they put a lot of effort into keeping this thing wrapped. Now I'm basically reverse folding it because it wants to maintain the tube or the round shape. So now we got to get it all straightened out so that it lays flat. And then basically putting the template on and then marking it out. All right. So what I'm going to do with this screen is I'm actually going to come down one group so that I have available space to screw things up, and I'm going to give myself extra mesh here all the way around, and then I can cut it or mark it and then cut it and then trim it and bend it to fit, because like I said, I wanted to fold the edges over to see if I can maybe in order to make those edges thicker and give more material for the seam sealer to grab into. So we'll go from here. Got my purple pen, so girly, and come in. And I'll have a this in here. And where windshield washer, or the windshield wiper, and where the windshield wiper arms or shafts go, I'll go ahead and cut that kind of tight, because I really don't think I'm going to try to fold those over so much. And that way I can get these in here. Having a good pair of scissors makes a difference too. But I'm giving it like 1 to 2 squares extra spacing, so that, like I said, I can fold it under and trim it if I need to. Because you definitely can't add to this if you screw it up. So I got that in there. All right, I've got this tool that I can clamp down on this mesh and bend, what does it look like, 5 inches? I'll be able to bend 5 inches of material all at the same time. So let's see how I want to do that. See, with that tool, I'm able to bend that and then fold it much faster than doing it with something smaller.
Alright, checking out, see how it fits. And now I'm rolling the edges so that I have a double thickness on the edges. And this stuff is light enough that I can push it over with my fingers, and then you want to tap it down with the hammer.
All right, so this is where we're at. if you look at the screening, I basically rolled the edges over and then tapped it down with a hammer so it's nice and tight. And so I'm going to clean this up with some solvent, and I'm going to start using this U-Pole seam sealer, and I won't use it on everything. I'll put like buttons on here and then smooth it down with my finger to get it to press into the screen. And once I get this glued, I'll give you another shot of it so that you know what I'm doing. And so now I've got the little dabs of dew on there and some creative work with clamps and plates. And so I'm going to let that set up and take it all apart and then clean it up a little bit and put some paint on it. So basically, that's all it takes is to put one of these things together. And it doesn't have to be real tight up underneath it because it's covered by the cowling. And so let me get back with you when we go to the next step. Rock Lords, out! All right, we're basically ready to paint this thing. So as you can see here, the little dots of seam sealer have been put in place. They're dry. And then what I did is I took a wire brush like this one here and I knocked down any high spots. And also, if there's any adhesive in here sticking through the wire, you kind of want to knock that out too, just so that you don't see it. It's not going to really affect the performance or anything like that, but it just makes it look cleaner. So I'm going to go ahead and hang this thing and wipe it down and paint it, and then I'll show you when it's finished. All right, so we're going to be wrapping this thing up. The last thing I'll do is take a picture of it on the vehicle, but this is what I've got. This is not a perfect match for the green, but it's going to get it close. And I put texture paint on the front and back, and then green, a forest green on the grille. And I'll go back when I paint the front fenders and I'll touch this up to make it the same color as the vehicle. But right now it's a close match, and I like that better than I like leaving it black. So that's I don't know if you can see if the camera shows. Yeah, it shows it in there. That screen looks pretty good, and there's nothing large going to get into that cowling now and rust out the side cowl and or the firewall or anything like that. All right, so success. And I'm going to have to do the same thing for the shop truck. And once I get that done, I'm not going to film that. Don't need to see it twice. So let's get this thing wrapped up. Rocky out! All right, this is with it on the vehicle. I still got some alignment and fit up to do. But yeah, check that out, man. There ain't going to be no leaves and stuff going down there now. So that's going to protect it forevermore. And I won't have to worry about leaves and stuff getting down in that cowling and rotting it out. All right, so let me move on to the shop truck, and I'll get this video posted. Rocky out.